Afternoon everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you can, please like and subscribe. Just thought I'd do a video on Jason's car culture and who am I. Literally we'll start back in Sydney in the 90s. I worked for McGrath's Holden, Mitsubishi and the workshop there. I also did street racing and Eastern Creek and the old Yokohama Performance Shootout days. Before that, let's see, first car was a Gemini. I think from memory I've had to write some of this down. Now I think my first car was a Gemini panel van. It came with a 1600cc engine. That didn't last long. We put a 2-litre extractors, Weber 5-speed gearbox, the old diesel diff and tail shaft upgrade. And then I got myself a XA coupe. Had 252V, top loader, 9-inch, blue in colour. We put the usual, I think we put Webers on it for memory. Drove that with extractors on it for a little while. While my dad and I built I think it was a 351 for memory. No, 460. That's right. The first engine was a 460 Dove engine. Yeah, we won't go into that engine. Then we built the 351 top loader, 9-inch. What else did we do? Then I think after that, once I'd finished that, that was a Coke Candy Apple red car. Usual bits and pieces, I suppose. Extractors, Holly, manifold. And then after that was the XA sedan. That was a Fairmont. That came with a 302 and C4. So we ended up building a really stout 351. Converter, C4, heavy duty tail shaft, XY 9-inch with 411 diff gears, cage, tank, custom interior. That was another Coke Candy Apple over a Toyota Sahara Red. Then I bought myself an XC 302 FMX thing as a drive car. And then I've had quite a few cars. I think I ended up getting rid of that. And I had an LJ, 4-door 202. I think it was a Power Glide banjo, welded up, the old box locker with a 355 in it. What else? Oh, then came the Turbo LC. That's right, one of my favourite cars. Now that was a 202 T04. Originally had a 5-speed Celica box, and we put the Trimatic in it, and then we eventually went with the Power Glide. That same thing, the old box locker. That had 308 diff gears. I think the fastest it ever went before it lifted the head off with 18 pounder boost with the 51mm Weber on it. I think we went 11.7 at around 120 mile an hour. That was a good little car. That was fun. That was a fun little car to own. In some ways I wish I still had that. I sold that. We bought the HG 350 Power Glide 9-inch. 308 Power Glide 9-inch, and then we ended up dropping the 354 bolter in. What else? There was an LH Tirana there for a while. That was a car I should never have owned. It was full of problems. Blame the mechanic. The VB SLE 308 Turbo 350 9-inch. I think that had the 150 shot of nitrous on it. That was a fun little car. In the meantime, I'd left Sydney working for McGrath's. I'd come back to Queensland. I was living on the sunny coast, working for Brisbane BMW, or Trevette Automotive, which was BMW, Saab, Citroen, Peugeot and Jeep. That's when the VB came along. So I bought that from the Maruka Magic Mile. Then the HQ with the 400 Chev Power Glide 9-inch. That was a burnout monster, that thing. Overheated every time you drove it, but it was a burnout monster. What else was there? Oh, there was the VL Commodore. This is this is back when Microtech was, you could use a screwdriver. So needless to say, it blew up quite a bit as we tried to push it. Especially with a 5-speed, because the Jatcos were completely and utterly useless back in those days. As soon as you put more than like 50 horsepower in them, they just dropped their guts everywhere. What else was? Oh, that's right. While I was in Sydney, I also had the XJS. It had a 6-cylinder in it. Blew up. Way too expensive, them 6-cylinders. So we dropped the 350 out of a sprint car in it. Turbo 400. Simmons. That was my drive car for a while. That was fun, that car. Sydney coppers, you know, they hated it. But being prestige, you could get away with it back then. What else did I get up here? Oh, the RE2 coupe. I think it was a 10A from memory. We put the 13B Bridgeport in it. Worth a fortune these days, but back then they were worth nothing. What else? Oh yeah, had another HQ 202. Trimatic, little converter. It's just a drive car, great cruise car. What else? Oh, the LH with the 350 Chev, Power Glide 9-inch, and you've seen a common thing here. I do like my Power Glides. Good gearbox. Yeah, that was just a fun car though. 991 all day, every day. Just didn't matter what you did, how hot it was, how cold it was, whether you went to Gladstone, Calder for the old TAC Nationals. Yeah, it just didn't matter. What else? I've had bikes as well. What else? There's probably other cars. Oh, the BF Turbo Barra. I've had other cars in there. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. They're the ones I sort of remember because they were fun. I don't normally keep cars long. Goldie, who's sitting out the front out here, the Calais, it's probably the longest I've owned a car now, because it was a project car that's kind of turned into a nightmare, because I don't want to LS it. I'm just going to leave the V6 in it. I've had G6R 600, 1000, R1, the GSX 1100 drag bike. What else? The Busser. Everyone's had a Busser at one stage. SV 650, TTR 250, KTM 525. I had plenty of bikes. Drag raced most of them. And the Datsun 1600. Now, wasn't that fun? Little 4-door. Bought it. It was the original engine, auto. We ended up putting a 2.4 litre in it, 48mm Webers, 5-speed manual, disc brake rear end off a Volvo, or Volvo discs. We turned that into a rally car. Murray Coote gave us a hand with that. Chilton Engineering, they did all the machining work. That was a fun car. You could take that car anywhere, and didn't matter what street corner you were standing on, set of traffic lights. Yeah, the amount of people that, you know, hey, rally car. That was a fun car. That was probably one of the other cars I sort of missed, because just, he wasn't fast. It probably would have run a 15 over the quarter. It was fast around Lakeside and Eastern Creek. Fast through the forestry. Really fast through the forestry. I loved that car. Probably the best JDM car I've ever owned. Yeah, so that's my cars. I've helped plenty of mates build cars. As I said, once I came back up here, whilst in Sydney, because I worked at Liverpool for McGrath's and I lived at Lansvale Smash Repairs. Well, this is back in the old touring cars day. We were literally 3 blocks away. So I used to go over there, and originally I asked for free if I could work on their race car, because I was a young fella then. And so I worked for them. I ended up at Wayne Gardner Racing. That man can ride a bike, but he can't drive a car. And as I said, came back up here, worked for McGrath's, through people that Ibbott's. People that I knew up here were into racing cars as well, drag racing, and roundy. So I ended up, whilst I was at Trevets, also working for DJR, or Ibbott Smash Repairs, because they did Dick Johnson's race cars. So we helped build Steve Johnson's Racing for Life car. And we did a lot of work on Dick's cars, pulling them apart and getting them ready for painting and stuff. Then I ended up at Gold Coast Porsche, which was part of Trevets. That was fun. It was a good time down there. Then I came back up to Brisbane for Trevets, across at their BMW. Just got to work on, Paul Morris when he had his 2-litre Tourer, he used to park it there, so we ended up doing work on that thing. Very good race cars. So that's how I met the Morris family. What else? Then I moved across to Hyundai, Kima at Mount Gravatt. I was there for, 10, 11 years. Still drag raced. It's when I bought the old Corvette Queensland UC Tirana. And luckily I bought it cheap off them because it needed a full front, back, up, down, inside, outside, complete rebuild. So that was the 355. Came with a 253, so we put the 355, the Power Glide 9-inch, which we'd already had. Caged it, 9 whatever it was in that car. Crashed it twice, once at Willowbank, once at Eastern Creek. By the time it got into the 9s, it was a nasty car. I'll see if I can find some photos. I've never been big on taking lots and lots of photos. I wish I had now. I think I've got photos of a few of them here and there. Like I said, I've done lots of stuff. Also worked for Springwood Suzuki for a while after I left Kima. Then I went back to Kima for a little while. Went into the office, out of the workshop, into the actual office. All the dealerships I've worked for, I've been in the workshops. Wayne Gardner Racing, Dick Johnson Racing. What else? Lansvale Smash Repairs, I was always working on the cars. Paul Morris Racing, I suppose, worked on the cars. I've worked for many drag cars, Victor Bray, Brett Stevens, over the years. Victor's a hoot, a definite hoot. STS Racing on their turbo buses. I've raced at pretty much every track from, I suppose, Cairns. I haven't raced at the one at Cairns yet. Townsville, right the way through down to Calder. The old Adelaide International Raceway, the Bend, Western Australia, I raced over there. Raced at Queensland Raceway, Eastern Creek, Oran Park, in a passenger seat when I was a kid with my dad. My dad was never really big into motorsport, but he did like Oran Park and stuff because it wasn't far. Used to go to the Brickyard. Dad had a XY 351 manual, ex-army thing that he did up. What else? The XP wagon, FB, EKs, Tiranas, but he never really did a lot with them. Dad just seen them as a drive car with a little bit of fun. I think his last one was the XY that we did, the Fairmont, with the fuel-injected 302 out of an EBGT. So that's where I get it from. But Dad had Holdens. I've had a Chrysler. I forgot about that. The old Chrysler CM, I think it was, 77, 78. 265, Hemi, Weber's, manual. It was a good cruise car. Not fast. Good cruise car. I've circuit raced. My passion is drag racing. I've been doing it since I was like 18. I think that Gemini ran like 19 seconds. I think we got it to like 16 seconds. I've gone as fast as 881. What was it? 881 at 155 mile an hour. You know, that's me. I've bought tools over the years I've still got. I've worked on plenty of cars. I've helped mates build cars, nitrous cars, turboed cars. We played with turbo cars when everyone hated them. Back in the 90s, and there was, I think, Duttweiler Performance in the US was about the only one. Not like these days. We get a lot of our stuff from Midwest Performance. Rudy from QuickTime Motorsport in the States, in St. Louis or St. Charles. Yeah, I've had plenty of sponsors over the years. Some have left, some I've still got, which I'm not using for the Mirage build. That's a budget car. Unlike everyone else, I'll include everything in that car: oil, filter, plugs, all that type of stuff. Some channels don't. My kids got me into this because they were always going, Dad, you go to all the events, you're at the race events, you're at Joe's Diner. A whole lot of them are all the guys that I've known. Drag racing's been good to me. I've met many people. I worked at Willow Bank for a little while when we taught Greg Murphy and that how to race at the drags. Craig Lowndes, Win Cup, all them, Dick Johnson, Radishish. I've got to hang out with all of them, so it's been a blast. Honestly, I wouldn't change it. And that it's taken me all over Australia, everywhere really, racing. I probably should have given Randy a bit more. That's what the Mirage is for. My daughter wants to get into it. A friend of hers, her dad works for Oceanic Motorsport, with a 2J Supra. But yeah, drag racing's me. Yeah, if you've got any questions, ask. I could probably go on about cars that I've owned, other HQs. XY Falcon. That was just a 351 top loader 9-inch. I think it ran like 12 5s. It was fun. Yeah, I've owned a HQ Monaro. The worst car I've ever owned in my life. I'd never own another HQ Monaro as long as I live. Yeah, I've bought into cars with mates and we've built race cars out of them. The LH that had the 383 injected thing in it. What did we run with that? I think that was 920s. Yeah, Georgie Wagner, may he rest in peace. Used to go to his workshop and get tips and hints when I was a young fella. When I come up from Sydney, Pack Performance, all them. I've raced all of those guys, heaps of people. And that drag racing is just a big family, really. Especially when you race a bike, you're literally right beside the Group 1 guys. They run up right beside you. See Kapiris, Benny Bray, Victor, and Brett Stevens. They all would park beside us. And you know what it's like. You guys that race, you get in the pits and you talk to people, and half the time you don't even know who they are when you're a young fella, and you're like, oh yeah, sweet, cool. They give you advice. Don't ever be afraid to take advice from older gentlemen that race, or ladies as well. There's some fast ladies out there. So that's pretty much me. I've worked on cars all my life. My dad worked on cars, so that's where I got it from. Yeah, I may do another video soon on tools, seems I've been in the industry for that long. As you can tell, there's bits and pieces everywhere here, stuff over there. Car in the background there, you name it. There's bits and stuff lying around here everywhere. There's car parts out the back out there. I've got mates that do wiring, panel beaters. Things have changed though in the time I've done. As I said, we all started out with carbies, and then you came along with Microtech with the screws, and Autotronic, and Haltech were just basic, and they really were. And now you look at Haltech and they can control everything. That is amazing what they can do now. I've learnt some of it. I'm definitely not a big engine tuner. I can do the very basics. I've got mates that know the ins and out of it. So yeah, I've progressed over the years. I forgot to chuck in there, I also worked for Yamaha at one stage. As I said, I'd owned an R1. Worst bike I've ever owned. I swear that was the worst bike ever created. Honda Grom, had one of them. Fun little bike. SV, Ducati, KTM, Aprilia. I've had some good bikes, some bad bikes. I've crashed a couple of bikes. So yeah, if you've got any questions, ask. And if I think of anything else, I'll add it to this. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and have a great day.